For those attend today's meeting, we are really lucky to invite Mr. Hu Chaowen, the Poverty Alleviation Office General Secretariat, Mr. Cai Dangming, Deputy Director of the Poverty Alleviation Office, Mr. Shan Yanping, the County Mayor of Enshi Autonomous Region, Badong County, Mr. Shi Lilong, the Deputy Director of Shiyan City Poverty Alleviation Office, and Mr. Cai Xuan, the Mayor of Machang City, and Mr. Li Yang, Deputy Director of the CDC Hubei Province. First, we'd like to give the floor to Mr. Li Yang. By the 5th of April, the total confirmed cases in Hubei have reached 68,000, among which 53,000 of the confirmed cases coming from Wuhan, and other outside Wuhan. The total confirmed cases is claimed to be 11,000. The newly added cases for the past 1 day is 0, and there is no imported cases. Across the province, outside of Wuhan, for the consecutive 12 days, there has no confirmed cases. There are still 577 people in the hospital under treatment, among which 172 of them are in severe conditions. By the 5th of April, the total death toll across the province is 800, and the total accumulated discharged people has been reached 64,000. All of it is coming from Wuhan. By the 5th of April, the newly added asymptomatic cases in Hubei province has claimed at 35. There is no transfer of them from the confirmed cases. The asymptomatic cases under quarantine have claimed to be 735 cases. Right now, we'd like to give the floor to Mr. Hu Chaowen to give us some of the information about the anti-poverty campaign in Hubei province. Dear friends from media, good afternoon. The year 2020 marks a critical campaign against poverty. The COVID-19 outbreak overnight is bringing a new challenge for our anti-poverty campaign. Some of the poverty populations and the migrant workers could not find a job in the city. The industrial cluster and the anti-poverty campaigns about certain industry is also meeting up with several difficulties. The CPC Central Committee and the provincial government has prioritized our anti-poverty campaign, and they have went through every household to collect the information about their economic status, which they come back and come up with a plan to use the consumptions, economies, and social help to drive the anti-poverty campaign. And we have adopted a coordinated system to battle against the poverty together with the COVID-19. And we need to make sure that the target we set it up before is going to be achieved at a timely manner. We have allocated the responsibilities into every shoulders of the comrades, with the CPC General Secretary at its core. And the general party work is focusing on the anti-poverty. We have surveyed all the poverty-stricken people with careful attention. And we have also focusing on the poverty as the most important pillars for all of us. And we have made it clear that the responsibilities of the poverty campaign Secondly, we also make sure that the anti-poverty campaign is serving as a major pillar of this year's target. And the COVID-19 should not pose any challenges to the poverty-stricken population, and we should make sure that the total 58,000 people who are burdened by poverty is going to be lifted out at the end of this year. For any income decrease caused by the COVID-19 and its impacts, we have monitored their economic status and provided them with the economic help. According to the policies and structure that we have designed so far, we have consolidated the 3 categories of the people and 3 guarantees that we have provided to them with an ever-evolving help and ever-enlarging economic and financial assistance. We believe that they are going to be lifted out of the poverty. Thirdly, we want to create more jobs, and we want to implement the General CPC Central Committee's rule of the 25 different measures to lift them out of poverty. Currently, we are working on their work resumptions and manufacturing resumptions for those of the migrant workers. We also want to implement the one-time subsidy coming from the Ministry of Human Resources, and we also give them 200 RMB per person in the middle of the outbreak of the COVID-19. And for the market entities, we have give them one-time job creation subsidy, and we have helped over 66,000 jobs of protecting the forestries. And we have also setting up over 55,000 jobs in the field of the poverty alleviations, and we have also surveyed into the total populations who are being stricken by poverty. We have encouraged all the labor-intensive companies to provide more jobs for the poverty population. Fourthly, we have adopted comprehensive measures to keep up the industrial cluster. We have also want to implement the 20 different measures, which is going to help the province to regain its poverty measures. And we are also going to adopt the series of the inclusive financing measures and implementing the postponement of the payment of the loans with a subsidy and incentives. We have also provided a series of policies to support the county mayors and also the villagers to set up their own company. For those of the villagers who set up their own company and stabilize their economic performance for over 1 year, we can give them a loan to the maximum of 1 million RMB. And we are also eagerly channeling all the poverty-stricken people to enjoy the earmarked special fund from the central governments. Fifthly, we are going to join our hands to boost consumption. We have also guided governmental institutions from the CPC Central Committee and also the provincial governments to join hands, share responsibilities with poverty-stricken regions. We suggested that all these institutions should buy some of the agricultural products produced by the poverty-stricken regions. We have also encouraged the shopping malls to connect with these poverty-stricken people in a point-to-point manner. We encourage people from all walks of life to get the information of the poverty-stricken people through the Alibaba platform and JD.com by purchasing the agri-product that they produced. Sixthly, we are also going to consolidate the poverty-stricken campaign and speed up the poverty alleviation projects. we are also want to create more jobs. For the work resumptions and manufacturing resumptions, we have adopted a one-to-one assistant. We also want to speed up the reallocations of the poverty-stricken projects. We have also want to support the industrial allocations. We are also want to make sure that for those of the projects who are heavily affected by the poverty and by the COVID-19 is going to get a special help. We also want to promote the earmarked special fund to be allocated in the poverty-stricken people. And we should not forget our initial purpose. And we should focus on the national guidelines of the poverty-stricken measures. When we discovered any problems, it is going to be addressed in a comprehensive manner. And we are also going to translate the reforms result into reality. Eighthly, we are never going to be relaxed in the poverty-stricken campaign. And we are also going to adopt regular measures in the anti-poverty campaign. For those of the areas which were deeply threatened by the poverty, which include 11 different counties, 454 different villages, we are going to do a general poverty-stricken campaign in these areas. And we are trying our best to make sure the poverty alleviation result can be tested by history and time. Now the floor is open to questions. With People's Daily, could you please introduce us the poverty alleviation campaign in Hubei province? Thank you. Thank you very much for your kindly question. To translate General Secretary Xi Jinping's requirement of the anti-poverty campaign, and we are also working hard to eliminate the effect of the COVID-19. After comprehensive considerations, we have built up a documentary archive for all the poverty-stricken people. At the end of the year 2019, all the poverty-stricken people the data of them is being collected into the archive. At the end of this year, we are going to build up a great war against the poverty in the Suixian, Jianli, Kangyang, Longxing, Daxing, Macheng, Badong, among other different 11 cities and counties. They are becoming our listed anti-poverty campaign cities and counties. For those of the people who are listed as a poverty-stricken households, we find them in 454 villages. And we have built up an archive for all of them. The build-up of this archive helps us to understand the status quo of their economic abilities, and this helps the local government and local institutions to understand what blocks them from getting a normal life. And we are also going to eliminate the impact of the COVID-19 to its minimum. For the last 2 28,000 poverty-stricken people. We are also going to make sure that they are going to get out of the poverty in a timely manner. We are also going to consolidate the poverty-stricken with poverty alleviation results in a continuous manner. The second, we are going to focus on the complementary educations, basic health care, housing, and water safety. With the responsibilities being allocated to each governmental staffs, we are going to adopt a precision-based poverty alleviation campaign to address the impact of the COVID-19 on our anti-poverty campaign. The province is taking the general responsibilities, while the city government and county government is playing a vital role in implementing all the measures which were being designed by the province. The major target for us is to control all the poverty households. And we have asked kindly all the comrades, all the governmental institution workers to focus on the newly added industries, newly created money to be tilted to the poverty-stricken regions. And we also want to help different county government and city government to address the headache. We also want to emphasize the efficiencies of the poverty alleviation. The major point is about the responsibility to person, workload to person, and policies and measures to each of the person. We are also going to consolidate the result with the targeted measures. At the end of this anti-poverty campaign, we will make sure that every measure is going to be counted. This is going to help us to build up a comprehensive well-off society. Thank you. With Economic Daily, the coordination between the anti-poverty campaigns in the eastern regions and western regions maintains a theme across the nation. Our question is about what kind of measures did Badong County take so far to help the migrant workers? Thank you very much. Friends from media, and also I want to thank the concerns from all walks of life. With the economic development, we have a lot of support gaining from the CPC Central Committee. Starting from the year 2017, the Hainan City has provided us a lot of support. With their assistance, we have reached 99 different poverty alleviation projects, generating 150 million RMB's revenue every year. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, we have working hard in different aspects of the COVID-19 prevention and control, agricultural channelings, and migrant workers' job creation. It can be summarized in the following up fronts. First, in the aspects of the project fundings, we have selected a comprehensive, fully fledged project. Around 15 different projects, where we have injected over 150 million RMB. Secondly, in the social poverty alleviations, we have joined hands together with Fangzhou City, has organized over 60 different companies to donate the PPEs and other medical devices, ventilators, ambulance, and TCMs mounted to around 600,000 RMB. This is the second part I want to introduce to you. Thirdly, in the consumption poverty alleviation, we have also provided them a product catalog. Zhejiang has actively echoing our cause. They bought the green teas, TCM herbs, and oranges that we have produced so far, which has registered a total volume of 5.8 million RMB. Fourthly, about migration workers. To fully play the role of the policies, we have formed a special working team in the work resumption. Through the exposures of several different medias, the recruitment of the jobs through online platforms, among other different attempts, they have left us around 3,500 job vacancies, and we ourselves has launched a point-to-point migration worker mechanism. We have guided all the migration workers back to the coastal cities. For those of the migration workers who are intended to go to Zhejiang, we have formed a transportation chain which collect them from their households, send them through the high-speed railways, and help them arrive at the factories that they are working in. Fourthly, we have given a lot of the governmental incentives. Up to today, we have transmitted around 710,000 people through the transportation method of the high-speed ways and discharged buses. Going forward, we are going to explore more fronts to collaborate with, and we are also going to build up a mechanism of collaboration between the eastern regions and western regions. With China Daily, the question is directed to Mr. Shi Lilong. What kind of measures did Shi Yan take up so far in the battle against poverty? I want to thank you for your concerns of our deeply poverty-stricken regions. In our county, in our city, out of the 8 counties, 5 of them have claimed severe poverty. Up to the year 2019, 3 of them has been alleviated from poverty. Around 93.2% of the poverty population has been lifted out of the original status quo. Firstly, we have formed a working team composed of 1,800 staffs, among which 600 of them are the party comrades. After the outbreak of COVID-19, all the poverty alleviation comrades has turned themselves into the governmental institutional management staffs. And since the outbreak of the COVID-19, we have newly built 1,182 different healthcare institutions and community-level hospitals. Thirdly, we have adopted targeted measures with the integrations of 2.8 billion RMB. Every year, we have transferred around 160,000 people on top of the poverty. All the poverty-stricken people is getting help from the healthcare insurance, among other major insurances. Comorbidities and chronic disease can be treated in a promptly manner in the community-level hospitals, with the severe patients being treated at a higher level hospital. We have also worked hard on the lower income group, which has registered a total number of 90,000 people. Fourthly, we have built up a survey mechanisms with visit to over 3,890 different households. The aged caring institutions has helped us to left our economy better, and we have newly developed over an industrial park of around 720 acres of land. We have built up around 3,000 poverty alleviation projects with creating 23,000 jobs. Going forward, we are also going to avoid the instabilities of the income of the poverty-stricken household and give more support to the job creation, and we are going to consolidate the poverty alleviation campaign's result with more incentives and subsidies being granted to this project. With the comprehensive measures, we are going to tackle the difficulties of poverty and win the battle against poverty. And we are also going to focusing on the three guarantees. For the deeply poverty-stricken regions and peoples which registered 60,000, we are going to make sure that they are going to be left out of the poverty. With Hubei Daily, could you give us more detailed introduction of Badong County's effort in the waterway project infrastructures, including the highways, among other different projects? Thank you very much for your question. This year, we have launched a campaign toward the clean water state grid network and power generation in the rural regions. Up to today, in our county, we have resumed 146 different working sites, with all the quality water projects being totally resumed. There are 526 power projects working in full-fledged, with another 429 poverty alleviation projects waiting for us to do our effort. We are carefully prepared for the poverty alleviation campaign. With all the problems and its solutions being carefully designed, we have also came up with a dedicated work resumption plan. Secondly, we have opened up green channels with a differentiated online-offline approval procedure. We have streamlined the approval procedure. The institutions and counties is going to build up a mechanism guiding the different governmental institutions to work on the water quality, environmental protection, among other different 5 projects. Thirdly, we are working on the resumption of work in a steadfast manner. We have also coordinated the companies and helped the companies in addressing their utilities and raw material supplying issues. This is going to help the company in a comprehensive manner. We have also helped the companies with a clear designated responsible person mechanism, avoiding the risks from its very root. With a clear knowledge that our county is being stricken by poverty for many years, we are determined and we have decreased the poverty ratio from 38% to 3% by this day. Going forward, we are going to find every measures to battle against poverty. I thank you for your support of the Badong County. I invited all of you to come to Badong, enjoy our green tea and enjoy our fresh orange. Hubei with Hubei Metropolis. This year is the final year for the battle against poverty, but this year we are heavily affected by the COVID-19. So how did you county, Machang County, tackle against poverty? Thank you very much for your concern. Machang County have the largest poverty population with the heaviest burden on our shoulder. In the past several years, we have left it around 59,000 people on top of the poverty. This sudden outbreak of COVID-19 is creating a lot of influence on Machang County, with over 40,000 migrant workers staying at their own home with no income. But we are working hard in the 3 guarantees measures to tackle against the impact of COVID-19 with a high-quality result of the anti-poverty campaign. We have adopted the following up measures. First, we have enlarged and guaranteed all the governmental staff team working on the poverty alleviation with a dedicated survey result of all the poverty-stricken families and people who are in the deprived situation. We have organized a governmental official team who scanned almost every household, even in the most remote region. We are working hard to avoid secondary occurrence of poverty, and we are working on the three forefront. For every household, we help them to find jobs. For every village, we help them to create an industry. For every county, we help them to form one major industry. For the unique industry and unique enterprises, it should be closely connected to the poverty-stricken household. We have also arranged 30 million RMB to be allocated into this people-deprived household. For those households who suffered from poverty, we provided 50,000 public jobs. Thirdly, we have adopted comprehensive measures. The biggest influence of the COVID-19 is about jobs. On the 7th of March, we are being granted as the lower risk region. From that day, we started the work resumption campaign. At the 15th of March, the total working load of Marcheng County is resumed to 100% compared with last year. For those 30,000 poverty-stricken households, we have created over 15,000 jobs, making sure all these people can work in our own county. At the 7th of March, we have opened up 2 high-speed bullet trains to transfer the migrant workers from our county to the coastal region. Starting from the 20th of March, every day we send migrant workers to the coastal cities. Up to today, we have sent around 12,000 migrant workers. Thirdly, we have also adopted a campaign to address the delayed sales of the agri-product. We are going to firmly implement the 15 measures put forward by the provincial government. We are also going to win the battle against poverty and high quality. Marcheng welcomes all of you in our spring blossoms. Thank you. With Hubei TV, our province is affected heavily of the COVID-19 outbreak. What kind of measures will we taken up so far to avoid a secondary occurrence of poverty or the relapse of poverty? Thank you very much for your question. The consolidations of the result is something that we have worked really hard so far. For the recent few years, after a third-party evaluation, the poverty relapse is in the decline. In 2017, there are 3,150 people relapse into poverty, while in the year 2018, 370 people relapse into poverty, and in the year 2019, there's only a few of the people has come back into their poverty status. That is to say, the qualities of the anti-poverty campaign is really high, but the sudden outbreak of COVID-19 is bringing us new problems to be worried. The measures that we have taken up so far included building up a mechanism to help those people in the deprived situation. This is going to consolidate the effort we have made so far in the monitoring and alarming systems. We have focused on the archived households with a lower income and a high risk for the relapse. We call them unstable households, and there are 75,000 households across Hubei province. And there are also 100 million people who are in this status. The outbreak of the COVID-19 has also brought their income to decline. And we have collected data in a dynamic manner. In terms of the measures we have taken up so far, we are working on a pre-alarm and afterward service system with the open up data collecting measures and governmental guarantees. The external assistance is also being combined with their own efforts. We have adopted a single measure for each of the households, and we are trying our best to avoid the outbreak-triggered poverty. We have emphasized industrial cluster and its role in the campaign against poverty. We have provided small amount loans, and we are working on the local enterprises to collaborate with them, providing jobs for these deprived people, for the laborers, for the people with the ability to work. We provided them better training and channel them with better working opportunities in the coastal region while providing them chances to work at their own home. Thirdly, we have emphasized in the guarantee measures for those who are not capable of working. We provided the insurance and the healthcare working assurance, among other different comprehensive measures, especially for those who are heavily affected by the COVID-19 outbreak, those who are disabled, those who are survived on the lowest income. we have adopted a timely assistance measures. Fourthly, through the China Poverty Alleviation website, we have motivated all walks of life to gathering more assistance to the anti-poverty campaign. Fifthly, we believe the only route out of the poverty is knowledge, is education. That is how we are going to incentivize the internal motivation of those deprived households. Thank you very much. With that, we conclude today's press conference.